Guys, and welcome to this week's video. Now this week I was speaking to a few of you during the week, and one question someone asked me sort of sparked an idea for a video, and I thought I would talk about it in today's vlog. Now I won't really say the topic, but if someone asked me, is it easier now to deal with your mental illness than before? Now you've got all the facts and you've been in therapy for a few years. Is it easier, and are you more clued in to what to do and more of an expert now? And does that help dealing with it, or was it easier before you knew everything? And it completely stumped me, because in some aspects, yes, it is easier to deal with things now. I know certain things, like I can figure out. One of the first few things I think you develop in therapy is looking for the signs of when you're falling back into that bad habits of self-harm, or when you're falling back into a bad state of mind. What are the warning signs that you need to look for? And I actually have mine pinned up on my wardrobe, so I can sort of remind myself to check to make sure that I'm not doing any of those things. So things like that, and little tricks that I've learned to help deal with self-harm, and obviously the suicidal thoughts and all that, that is a lot easier. But going to therapy and talking through everything and dealing with a lot of stuff is also incredibly painful. Things that you don't even realise affect you and have been brought to the surface, and things that you don't even really remember but seem so important and significant now, that cause you such a painful event. And it brings back everything to the forefront of your mind, and you constantly have them in your head. So it's a bit of both, honestly. It's helped me in a way that I know how to deal with panic attacks. I know other ways to not self-harm. I know sort of how to spot when I'm falling into that bad end of depression. But knowing that this illness is never gonna go away, that was one of the hardest things I think I ever learned. Because whenever you get an illness, whether it's mental or physical, what you want to know is, how long are you going to feel like this for? You want to know a time. When will you feel better? And how long length of time is it going to take for you to get back to who you were? How long is it going to take for the pain to go away? How long is it going to be? Everybody wants to know the time and how long you're sort of going to be down and out for. When I was told that this is something that I'm going to fight for the rest of my life, and yes, sometimes you can have like good years or good months and nothing really bothers you, or you can just live in sort of a constant state, I was heartbroken, and it sort of put the world into a negative space, because you don't want to think about your future and think about having this to deal with. The way I feel now, I don't want that to hang over my head in 10, 20 years time, because that seems like it seems impossible to imagine. And I think knowing things like that really does not help at all. But overall, if I had to choose whether to go back to not going to therapy and not knowing and just dealing with it how I was dealing with it, or go through all the pain and go to therapy, I would 100% honestly go through therapy all over again. And then I'm still in therapy, obviously, but I would do it, because as much as each session is painful, and living with the memories and dragging through your past and learning and just raking up old memories and just finding not very nice things out, it's a lot easier to do than to live in a constant state of just not wanting to live and cutting myself to shreds just to get through the day, or trying suicide again. I would rather go through the pain of therapy and know the facts, and it's made me more aware. And to be honest, you learn you're not alone, which sounds ridiculous, but you do. You know, obviously therapists and counselors, they'll tell you that they'll give you the statistics, but it doesn't really, it doesn't really help, as they're just numbers. And it isn't until you talk to people online and you read people's blogs or see things, that you realise that they're not just numbers, they're real people out there struggling the exact same as you, finding it incredibly hard to get through a day, and it helps. That question really stumped me when I was talking to this girl, and I thought I would share it with you because it was a really, really hard question. In some bits, my life is a lot better off knowing everything and dealing with everything, but it's also a lot worse off. It's a balancing act, and you just sort of, you made a decision, and I made a decision to do it, and I'm glad I made that decision. It was the right decision to make. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye guys.